My company is RUF Strategic Solutions. That's RUF.com, pronounced roof, like roof on the house. We have been in business for 33 years. We are a specialty analytics firm. We got our feet wet in the direct marketing industry and have been a member of the DMA for those full 33 years. We have taken lead scoring to the next level, really through rigorous analytics and a variety of data sources that we bring in, including our unique proprietary data called Model Fuel, which allows our models to be more accurate and predictive. We then tie the loop with a closed back end. We're able to track data all the way from the lead source, in through the lead scoring process, and then through the disposition of the calling centers. That data all comes back, and then we're able to use that to tune the models to make our lead scoring more accurate.
Cool, and people like that.
I think it's relevant for this day and age, especially when you have many sources that are providing leads where you may not know where they're coming from, where the exact source is. Many of the sources black box how they even bring the names in. Some are incentived, some are co-reg. So it's important to have a unbiased arbiter of the data to really assess and give you value of your data, to let you know whether your source is going to provide in a continuous basis, and also give your source some metrics to measure themselves versus your other sources so that you can properly gauge the value and the profit or the pricing that you should pay for those leads.
How do you charge?
Well, we in the direct marketing side of the business, it's really pennies per lead on those bases, but it's in many of the cases it's a CPM based on a volume of matched score process, and we're able to also work in a case where we can measure our value on the back end and share in some of that back end revenue.
So you negotiate depending on the deal. If they want to pay up front or cash or back end rev share.
Yeah, it could be a back end rev share. If they're typically we'll only do a back end rev share once we've had the initial CPM test to verify whether the sourcing and the process and the methodology are all in alignment. Once we have a predictive model that we know produces, then we can share on the back end rev share.
Do you license to some of the other software companies?
We do. We license to some of the largest compilers out there. That's why we're really unknown in this industry. This is our first time attending the LeadsCon. We are really kind of the background, powered by RUF, if you will, entity for a lot of the major compilers that have used us to build their segmentation tools, to build their analytic tools that they private label. So I would characterize us as a manufacturer of intelligence, and we have a distribution network that then private labels our solutions, so many people may have never heard of us.
So there's a lot of competitors in this space. Are you comparable, better, worse?
Well, there's a lot of decision support need out there, and there are a lot of tools, a lot of software that's available, and there's a lot of good providers out there that do quality work. So I think what we do is very relevant to the time and to the need of the marketplace, and I believe many in this conference have a need for these types of services, and that those services will only be needed more and more as the time goes.
Is one of the problems if you're better than someone else, but the client is not sophisticated enough to know how you're better, then you're viewed more as a commodity?
There are a lot of commodity situations in all of direct marketing and in all of digital marketing. So the really challenge is figuring out the proof in the pudding, as you will. And the proof in the pudding, in other words, the math that we produce, is typically very clear to test against other math, because the numbers that come out are either better with the lift chart or not. So the testing is very clear on the type of blind, multi-cell testing we can do. The commodities are really those things that are in the middle, that are just taking one data source and then remarketing it under another name. You know, you always will have a lot of those kinds of situations, but the traffic generators, the true individuals that are bringing quality, engaged leads into the scoring system typically will perform much better than a stale, compiled type data source.
So you could go into a client that's using a competitor and you could do an overlay and show them the difference. You could do an overlay of past data and
Correct.
say that we could have made you another $2 million.
That's correct. That's what we do. We can test in the lab where you don't even need to go live in the field and prove our analytics versus other analytics. But in many cases, it might be easier for me just to go to who you might perceive as my competitor and let them license our data, and then it leaves me free to go out and work on other verticals.
Sounds like a good product.
It allows scalability, it really does. And once you have the math matrix built, it's scalable across multiple industries and across multiple channels. So the key in all of this is tracking the back end, the ability to bring that disposition and that response data back, all the touch point data back into the system, because that tunes the model, it recalibrates the model, it makes it more accurate.
Is it software as a service where people basically API into you, and you just give them an API code?
We have APIs that go out to the lead sources. We have a web service that goes to hundreds of lead sources. Those lead sources then are funneled into our system. The real-time scoring goes on. It then all goes into an analytic data warehouse. And then we have an API and web service that go out to the service customers, either through their CRM system or through our CRM partners.
So if BestFit was to license your technology for their software, it'd basically just be an API, and the stuff would come in, loop through to you, and then come back.
Yeah, well, in a service bureau environment, we are a very large service bureau and have a large data center 24/7. Many of our services are contracted out on a monthly basis, and we build in essence, a subscription service through our analytic warehouse, and then the scoring service is kind of built into that on a volume basis.
You see a lot of growth.
Yeah, tremendous growth right now. This has been in an environment where the economic environment is changing. Companies like ours are always doing better in a down economic environment, because you really need to understand who your customers are. You really need to do the profiling. You need to do the segmenting. You need to figure out who the 20% are that will buy 80% of your products.
What do you see about the market? There's 400 billion offline media still, 40 billion online. You see the shift? You see it coming?
The shift is upon us, and it's occurring quickly. And we're right in the middle of it, and it's exciting times. Just even judging by the size of this conference and how it's grown, doubled every year, I see that shift occurring more and more, and I see the relevance of this conference as being more important to the traditional marketers.
Right place at the right time.
Right place at the right time.
Great. Any final words for your fans?
Keep it real.
Any shout outs?
The roof is on fire. We aren't going to stop until it all burns. No.
Until it all burns down.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.